Today I would like to introduce Steve Pickering. He's a part of the course, he's an interviewer, and if you have seen the English version of the course, we always start every week with Steve interviewing me on some particular aspect of human health. Steve is also a researcher. He's finding all the medical research that is happening in the world, actually, that is backing up our program and fitting to our program. And today we changed actually the functions, the places. I am interviewing Steve today because he just really wanted to talk about his progress on the course, because he's not only an interviewer and researcher, he's also actually following the same course that we are making. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and the first one is the thing you always mention, that's something about the weight, that you lost weight on the course.
Oh, definitely. I must add that although I'm doing the course, I've known you for about a year now, just over a year, and I started almost immediately picking up on what you're doing. I was very impressed with what you did with what you do with one-on-one cancer patients, and remember we talked about whether a course could be developed which would actually prevent people from getting to a stage of illness with cancer, with other lifestyle diseases. So the diet, the losing the weight hasn't actually happened over the last few weeks of the course. That started before. But yeah, people come up to me and they say to me, "Steve, you lost so much weight. Are you ill?" And just explain that. I was 87 kilos, I'm now about 72, so about 17 kilos lost. But my first thought is when I look at the people and I think, what's happened to you? Are you ill? You're so fat. But I don't say that, of course. I wouldn't say that. But I think about that and think, well, I'm the same weight. I'm 62, nearly 63 years old, and I'm the same weight now as I was when I was about 22 and I was playing a game called squash. Squash, like tennis against the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel just as fit and vital as I was then. So I find that question quite amusing. But of course, if you look at my age group and look at the peer group, average sort of men around 62, then most of them are a little overweight, maybe obese, maybe walking with a little stiffness or something like that. And I don't feel any of that. So I'm very happy about losing weight, absolutely.
So the process of losing weight, is it something with suffering and eating very very few different kinds of foods, and what is how would you describe, do you enjoy your food at all? What are you eating?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I didn't find it very difficult to cut out the kind of carbohydrates that I had been eating, such as bread, potatoes, rice, pasta. There was a real difference with not eating those carbohydrates, which also affected my digestion. But that made losing the weight fairly easy. So what did I eat instead? Well, I went over to eating fats, as you call them, healthy fats, saturated fats. And that was nice, because I'd always enjoyed a steak, and before I used to cut the fat off and leave the fat. Oh, I wish I hadn't done that, because I love the fat, and I love butter, and I have this Turkish yogurt, 10% yogurt. In fact, I make my own one, which is 20% fat yogurt.
Are you blending it with, you do something with
No, I actually ferment it myself, and I use the fat cream. I use that and make 20%. Exactly. And it's like having ice cream rather than yogurt. It's fantastic. I'd forgotten what butter tasted like, real butter, and that's fantastic. cheese, avocado. I eat a lot of avocado. I have a lot of these oils. I mean, I never touch the refined oils, but you know, I have a salad with olive oil, with flaxseed oil.
So you use a ketogenic diet?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm you know, anywhere between depending on the day, between about 75% of what I eat in terms of energy value is fat, and I've not had any problems with that at all. Apart from, well, if it's a problem, the fact that my weight has gone down, it's stabilised at a level. I don't really have to worry too much about the amounts I eat. The other thing is the intermittent fasting. I thought I was going to really struggle with that, but the funny thing is when I eat fat, I don't feel that hunger. I don't have that, you know, I don't sort of bomb out with feeling really hungry. So I can go quite a long time. You know, if you told me I wasn't going to eat anything from now until tomorrow morning, I'd be okay with that because I know I'm not going to get desperately hungry. I'm not going to wake up in the middle of the night with hunger pangs. So to stop eating about 5 o'clock in the afternoon and don't start eating for 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, it's not a problem. I can even go swimming and do exercise. And actually the feeling after I go swimming, after fasting, you feel pretty exhilarated, I must say. It's completely opposite to what you'd expect, but I feel good about that. So yeah.
So you have plenty of energy on this kind of...
I think
that's
so.
a lifestyle,
I think so.
actually.
Yeah. The energy. You know, I have been swimming quite a lot. I mean, I stopped playing squash years ago, but swimming is important for me. But you know, I like to swim 100 lengths, 25-meter lengths, which is 2.5 kilometers. I've got this crazy notion I want to swim 100 lengths on my 100th birthday. That's my ambition. But I used to have to come home and really take a nap. I couldn't do this without coming home and just collapsing and you know, being completely out of it. But I found that I don't have that need for a nap. Yeah, maybe it's nice to take a nap, but I don't need to do it. So I just carry on. So that's not a problem. So I guess in that respect I have more energy. I also like biking and cycling, and I'm not a professional cyclist. I just like doing it for fun. But I don't find myself getting out of breath going up hills. We don't have many hills in Denmark, but the hills there are there, I don't feel too bad. And you know, as a like a recreational cyclist, it's much more enjoying what's going by and everything, knowing that you're not going to be breathless or get out of breath. That I think is really great. And I walk a lot. I try and do 10,000 steps a day. The great thing is that if you follow the course, you'll find there's a lot of exercises you can do with posture and breathing while you're walking. So walking, apart from having the fact that you're getting out in the air and you're seeing a bit of nature, it's a great thing that you're actually doing something positive at the same time. So yeah, I like that.
Sounds great, and this is pretty interesting that actually you are doing, as I know, a little bit of caloric restriction too, because when we do intermittent fasting and we making it window diminished a little bit, so we have also kind of a little part of it is caloric restriction.
Yeah, well the thing is, yeah, that's right, because the thing is that that, as I say, you don't feel hungry, you don't get this gnawing hunger that I think you get when you're eating carbs with this high glycemic index. But yeah, I mean the great thing with caloric restriction, I mean I was always warned off eating eggs. You know, one of my nicest meals for doing that is just to take an omelette with some cheese, a bit of cream in it maybe, and you know that provides, it's got the nutrition you need, and you just carry on. So eggs, luckily my neighbour has started, she's got some hens and she wants to almost give me the eggs, and it's an egg is the most amazing source of energy, and it's got no carbs, it's got the right amount of fatty acids and everything, as you know, but eggs, Eat eggs.
What about the amount of water are you drinking? Is a lot of water, Scott?
Scott. Well, I mean, you're not
Or is moderate amounts of water?
No, well, it's not specifically you said on the course, but I always start the day with some apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, and I drink that first thing in the morning. And being English, I do drink tea, so I drink a hell of a lot of tea. So as my needs come up, I'm not too sure whether my need, but I certainly do keep myself hydrated. I really feel that. So.
What about medication? Did you experience some kind of a drop in the amounts of medication?
Yeah, it seems to be the way of it these days that when you reach a certain age, then it's almost expected that you're going to suffer from one or two lifestyle diseases that you need medications for. I think by doing sport all through my life, I remember going to the doctor and the doctor saying, "Well, you're not diabetic," as if it was some big surprise. A doctor at one stage, when I did carry this 87 kilos, advised that I should take a cholesterol lowering drug. Luckily, I said no to that, and I really believe that that my current weight, even if I did have a problem with cholesterol, I wouldn't need the medication. But since I was about 18 years old, I've suffered badly from reflux. Where this acid comes up, and I was really worried about that because, for a man in my age group, that could easily lead to esophageal cancer, and that was really worried. So as a precaution, as a risk management, I was taking these tablets to deaden that, but I also taking these tablets that somehow prevented the formation of acid. So I was taking medication. I must say that since I stopped eating high carbs with high glycemic index, I haven't had one episode where I had to take a tablet. And I think it's incredible. 40 odd years of regularly taking tablets, and then suddenly overnight, nothing.
Sounds really good.
Which is fantastic. So I'm very proud of the fact that I'm coming up to 63 and I'm not on any medications. I'm sorry if that upsets some of the pharmaceutical companies, but that's just the way it is.
You just mentioned the age, and the common notion is when you get older, then you also have problems with sleep. Did you experience any differences?
Yeah, absolutely. The problem for me with sleep was there were three things in it. The first of all, that I was really worried about waking up in the middle of the night with this acid reflux. It seems when I laid down, that was in the worst possible scenarios to just wake up with this burning and the acid in the throat. So I don't have that. The other problem was that I had problems with my hips for about 20 years, which actually meant that I physically woke up. I mean, not just come out of sleep. I woke up and had to roll over. It must be every half an hour or so. So I didn't really get a night's sleep. In the end, I used to have to go and sit in a sofa and sit semi-upright to be able to sleep. And I tried all sorts of things, a hard mattress, soft mattress, you name it. But now, amazingly enough, I think for myself, I don't have to do that. The other thing is getting up in the middle of the night. We talked about hydration. You'd think that the more I was drinking, the more I'd need to get up and pee in the night. Well, I really started worrying. Again, a worry for a man of my age is having some form of prostate trouble. And getting up in the night, and I'm sure a lot of men my age could recognise this, you get up in the night, you need to take a pee, you go in there, you try and pee, and it's very difficult. You're not peeing the way you normally did, and that bothered me a lot. But one of the interesting things about the sleeping is that I find I don't need as much sleep. which kind of frustrated my wife because after doing some of the breathing exercises, I'd go to bed after she went to bed, so I'd go to bed at midnight, and then I'd wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I was ready to go, and I am ready to go.
There's a discrepancy.
There's a discrepancy, so I just do it by just going to bed later. But I actually find that my sleep, I've got a little app that uses my sleep quality. It's not, the trouble is with the apps, they concentrate on the quantity of the sleep instead of the quality. So if I slept 10 hours, it would give me 100%. But what I do notice that I do these dips into deep sleep and come up into the REM sleep, dip, then I come out into the REM sleep. So as far as I'm concerned, the quality of sleep I have is much more improved, and of course not having to find a position to lie in that wasn't causing me back or hip. It was my hips mainly. Really, my hips were causing me a lot of problems. So I don't know what that was, whether there's a lot of inflammation or what have you, but it certainly has improved.
So when we're talking about the sleeping, could you expand on that? Tell me a little bit about sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping for me was a big problem, because I think from the early 90s, so we're talking about almost 20 years, I had a problem with sleeping, because I knew that when I went to bed, that around about 1 hour, 2 hours, I was going to have to start rolling around because of the pain in my hips and in my back. I remember well on a holiday on Langeland, where it was an old, one of these little cottages with a bed. It was a very soft bed, and the only way I could get relief on this was actually to sleep on the, well, I didn't even get relief, but made it better to sleep on the hard floor. I'd sleep on the floor of the house. I tried everything at home. I mean, I got an old door I put an old door underneath the mattress. Tried all sorts of soft mattresses and everything like this. Going to a hotel, you go to a hotel and either you have a great night's sleep, or it's absolute nightmare sleeping because of that. And I really I sort of came to terms with myself that I wasn't going to get a good night's sleep anywhere. And I suppose my lifestyle, I probably looked tired and everything. I was tired because when I got up in the morning, I felt tired. My wife was fed up with me jumping around in bed. Can't you lie still and everything? So I had to go and sit in a chair, and sometimes the worst thing was going, and because of the thing with the eating, I'd feel really hungry 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I don't know if you ever tried to have breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning and then go to sleep, because ultimately I'd sit in this chair and I'd feel really sleepy. And then you sleep 3 hours. When you wake up 3 hours after having breakfast
at 4,
you feel absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And
yes,
I think people really underestimate what sleep means. And I say, I'm sorry to say that we, in all walks of life, in everything these days, we tend to put quantity weighing over quality.
Yeah.
I think it's a big problem.
It's a very, very big problem, right? Yeah.
So let's sleep. So I'm a happy sleeper.
So our course, it's integrative.
Yeah.
And in a way, there's many, many different areas of health are tied together. But the mental state, did you see the improvement in your stability, in your mental state, in your kind of, in the mental energy, also levels during the day?
Yeah, I think it's two aspects of that. Again, someone getting my age, inevitably you think that you're on the way down, and you're going to get ill. I think the worst fear, and it should be the fear of everyone, is they suffer this morbidity. That you think it's inevitable I'm going to be on medication, it's inevitable I'm going to get ill and everything like that. I think the one thing about this course for me, is a change of acceptance, or rather, not accepting that that I am on a inevitable decline. That by taking responsibility for my health, I can actually maintain it. Hopefully for a very long. Well, not hopefully. I know I can, and that is a great thing. But that gives an inner calmness, inner rest, and what I really notice is by doing some of the exercises with something called diminished breathing, it helps to get in a state of meditation where everything is very calm, and that's something you can do all the time. So and the funny thing is, if I'm at a meeting or a speech or something like that, listening to it. Yes, you can nod off to sleep in those things, but if you're concentrating on the diminished breathing and you have this single point of attention there, then you tend not to. You just get into and funny enough, it's a weird thing. You think that you're shutting out and everything, but I really believe that if you're at an interesting conference or something, if you get in this state, you're actually absorbing more of the knowledge somehow. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that.
It sounds good to me too. So when we are talking this integrative thing, we have something that is connected directly with our body. That's the physics. That's the movement.
Yeah.
So what is the degree of movement? What is the amount of movement during the day for you in order to make everything work for you? So what would you say?
Well, I do the structured movement, the Dharma Marga in the morning. I also, it's not in the course game, but I've always been a great fan of the what's it called, the sun worship in the morning, the yoga, and I feel you need that to wake up your body and get that. But I've realised very much that it's not so much getting physical strength per se, but it's important with the movement and posture, and I've been following the course, following the instruction, and I feel that it gives I feel my joints a lot more supple, combined with the thing about not feeling this pain. Incidentally, if you talk about medication, I rarely take any Panadyls or those sorts, and I definitely have not found the need to take any of these ibuprofen, these sort of tablets, which is really good. But what I actually do, I told you about the swimming. I don't go swimming every day. I still feel that your body needs to have this restitution. But restitution for me is not just sitting on your bum doing nothing. It's actually doing. I try and say 90 minutes a day. That's what my aim is. So I'm either swimming the 2,500 meters. I do a freestyle swimming, which is more on the movement. It was developed from what the U.S. Navy SEALs did. They had to swim something like a kilometer in 10 minutes with 50 kilos. And they learned that they should swim like dolphins. That is, instead of using thrust backwards, by the feet or pushing back with the water, that they would spear themselves forward. And this movement and this calmness, it moves your whole body, and I really recommend.
Sounds
really
good.
recommend swimming, freestyle swimming. I like to walk. As I said, the walk is fantastic because you can practice your posture, and you can do this. You can do these diminished breathing exercises. The swimming, I do 25 meters. Underwater, and very often many of the lengths I do are on one breath. So I'm using one breath to do the whole thing. So swimming is so underrated. It's a wonderful exercise.
So in reality, what I see, that what you're saying is that you are able to connect all the areas we are working into some kind of a multiple function exercise or multiple purpose exercise when you do some kind of movement.
Well, you can't have one without the other, or the others.
Yeah.
The thing is that I'm sure there's a lot of benefits from doing buteyko breathing if you're an asthma sufferer and everything like that. There's no doubt. I've seen the results of that. You can do that. Ketogenic diet, you could definitely get the benefits of that. There's no doubt about that. But really, truly, what I do like about the course, and I'm not just trying to sell it. This is of course we'd like to sell it, but the fact is that you, Misha, have happened upon or developed a system that basically takes all these things, puts it together for the benefit of every part of your body and your mind. So it is truly integrative. But I say, going back to this thing about that normal people, the trouble is that I actually thought that my health was pretty good, and that I did the swimming and everything. And it's not until you actually get on the course, it's not until you start doing the things that you start thinking, wow, I didn't think this was possible. Especially when because in our society, because everything is focused towards the youth. That when you're 60, you're not supposed to be doing this sort of stuff. You're not supposed to be thin. You're not supposed to be not taking medication.
So it's not normal.
It's not normal. I hate it when I get in conversation with guys my own age. It's a bit like that Monty Python sketch where we're all sitting around. I remember when I was young. You know that sketch.
Yes.
But it's like, well, I went to the doctor and he put me on statins, and I didn't ask why, but I'm on these statins. I know, I'm on the metformin and I'm doing this. And I think myself, well, I must be a weirdo because I'm not on any of these things.
Exactly, yeah.
And
So we have to change the normal in some way, in the
we have to
perception of what normal is. In a
exactly. Way. I'm sorry to say that our society seems to have put us into a different perception of as you say, what normal is. But normal for me now is that I feel that I'm fully functional, that I'm in a state of normality, if you like. You can't get to 62 or older without having anything. I mean, look, our cells do degenerate. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But the amazing thing what I found out is that you can, by taking control, by actively doing something about this, you can actually maintain that level of normality. I think you call it homeostasis, isn't it? For a longer period of time. But you can't do it if you're just shooting in the dark and getting at these things. You need to have the knowledge. You need to understand a bit of what's going on. I was lucky in a way because years ago I trained to be a masseur and I learned some of the physiology and the anatomy. And really and truly, once you learn the physiology and the anatomy, it helps you focus, and you're not scared. I used to think, oh, I've got pain in my arm. Oh my God, I've got cancer. I mean, to me now, it's a ridiculous notion, because 90% of the pains you have in your body are muscular and in the joints. And as you've shown me, which I didn't really understand before, was that a lot of the pains in the joints are actually a result of systemic inflammation. And you say, okay, how can I solve this systemic inflammation? Well, you just can't look at one aspect of it. You've got to look at your breathing, you've got to look at your diet, you've got to look at your movement.
Exactly. And just to wrap it up, I'm very, very happy to work with Steve and Karsten. We have a team of 3, and now we are going to maybe have a team of 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Next month
it's
already.
It's going to grow.
Yeah, and then we have now worked for 1 year making the course.
Yeah.
With no ill days, no. Actually, all of us 3, we've been filming
Fit, yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
almost, and it's actually great to see that we are actually, all of us three, we are on the course and practicing the same things. So thank you very much, Steve, my dear partner. And this is very inspiring also to see that we are not only making the course, but we are
Walking the talk.
walking the talk.
Walking the
Take
talk.
the five. Thank you for
Thank you.
watching us. Now, Steve, let's put it straight. It cannot be all happy days with everything, with this. So, tell me about disadvantages.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, one thing is that if you've been slightly overweight and you try and lose weight, inevitably you're going to have a surplus of skin. And I'm not a vain person, but you know, the funny thing is I've never been able to have a six-pack, and yet because I've lost weight, I'm sort of getting an automatic six-pack. Mm-hmm. But you know, I get this loose skin. But it's a small price to pay. I probably look old in the face than I actually am. Maybe, you know, if I carry on with the breathing, I understand there's some.
You need to go over 60 on CP, then
Yeah,
you have
then
to
you
start
regeneration.
rejuvenating the skin.
So,
Exactly, yeah.
so I mean, my sister said to me, she said, "Oh, you know, you're all wrinkly in the face." I could grow a beard, I suppose. I could do something, but you know, as I say, it's a small price to pay, and at my age, I'm not that vain. I'm not that bothered. I think the keto adaptation was kind of tricky. I think where I went wrong was I didn't realise that I wasn't getting the salt that I was getting in bread. So there's a couple of things. I remember in London, suddenly it's like someone took my head and pushed it to the side. And I thought, oh, I better sit down here. My sister was very worried I was having a heart attack. I thought, no way, I'm not having anything like that. But I think the keto adaptation, you need to work at it, right? But the worst thing is that I seem to have a problem, and I've been, you know, talking to a lot of people, a lot of good solutions, is having this so-called keto breath. And I think one of the things you've pointed out is hydration. That if you drink a lot of water, then
No, not a lot of, but just often. Not a big quantities, big quantities.
But keep drinking water. But that can affect your self-confidence. If your wife turns around and goes, "Well, you stink like an old man," which I don't think I do, but then again, my wife gets very close. Then you have to have. I think you have to have a little bit of self-confidence to be able to go out. But you know, I found some mints that are based on stevia, not these other things. So you just have to be a little bit aware of that. You know?
Yeah. Very good idea. Yeah.
So it's basically happy days, but of course everything, if it's worth doing, you have to put up with a couple of things.
What about social acceptance? Yeah.
The worst thing about losing all the weight, I had to buy all new clothes. I mean, I went from a 38 waist to a 32 waist. I had to wear, the silly thing was, I was wearing like suits to things, and that made the thing about, oh Jesus, you look ill. I mean, if you're walking around in a suit that's 3 sizes too big, and belts. I mean, I bought a belt and then I had to put extra holes in it, extra holes. In the end of the belt was flopping out here somewhere. So you need to adjust your budget, because you're going to have to get new clothes. Wow. You're going to have to get new clothes.
Well, for many people that would be only a positive thing, right? To go out and renew the...
Yeah, that's true.
The clothes.
But you're going to say something about social acceptance.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know, but just I want to have your 5 cents about the social acceptance. How is it? Is it also a hard thing to manage?
Yeah, I mean the food,
of the lifestyle change.
Yeah, the
that's
food
what I
thing
mean.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, I make a lot of the food at home, and so I can make food for my family who are getting there. I mean, we used to make pizza twice a week or something like that, and to me, pizza is just one of the worst things you can eat from a carb point of view. So you know, I'm cooking other things. I mean, we're eating a lot of meat. One of my favourite meals these days is a nice steak with lots of fat, some collard greens like cabbage or kale or something like that, and then just put lots of butter on. I mean, it's such a simple meal and it tastes so good. But sometimes, I mean, my wife said to me once, and I'm sure she'll see this video and say, "I didn't say that," but she said, she says to me, "Steve, when are you going to stop eating this experimental food?" And I turn around to her and say, "Yeah, Anna, when are you going to stop eating the experimental food?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Listen, people have only eaten the type of food that you and others eat in the past 50, maybe 100 years. Your grandparents did not eat lots of cakes and buns and things like this. So excuse me, I think in the terms of humanity's DNA, you're the one on the experimental
That's
food."
a good point.
Yeah. So, but you have to take a lot of that, and but sooner or later, you know, my daughter, she's got no weight problem or anything, but she admits she's got a sugar addiction.
That's the hardest one to break.
Absolutely. And you know, the shops don't do any favours, because, as I say, just going to a shop and seeing this wall of fizzy drinks, and you go down whole aisles of that, and you know, in the streets there's baker shops full of temptation and everything, and
it promotes.
But you know, the more keto you eat, the more you get away from these refined foods. The more you're noticeable of it when you do eat something. Like if I'm given something and I can feel that there's some additives or something. Wow, you notice that. You know,
exactly.
You know these
The
nitrates.
sensitivity goes up. Actually, you train your sensitivity
your taste,
in many ways, both in the sensing and the taste of the food. You can taste different ingredients. Exactly, that's what I.
I mean, I do have some tricks when I'm when I do go out. What I normally do is, if I'm not quite sure what I'm going to find when I'm there, very often I'll take some coconut, but I'll actually soak the coconut in virgin coconut oil, and then if you put it in the fridge, it will solidify it up a little bit. And you can take that with you, so that if you're somewhere where they're just serving something that's an absolute no-no, like the only thing available is chocolate cake with sugar on, then you politely say no. But you know, the difficult thing in Denmark, and I'm sure it's the same in other places in the world, they love to serve you rolls or bread. Most people have got to the idea of, okay, we'll serve butter because butter's making a bit of a comeback. So what I do is I just politely take one roll, but I load it up. I absolutely load it up with butter. So my brain's going, okay, the keto value is still intact. You know, I'm getting a lot of the calories out of the 30 grams of butter I put on this 30-gram roll. But the worst thing is, and I must admit, I do take note of what I'm eating and everything and the calorie value. It's amazing, just one roll or one that, it can completely blow a hole in your keto diet, and people got to be aware of that. So
exactly. There's a lot of awareness we need, you know, and that's what we are very, very slowly building up. You know, this awareness, how to change the lifestyle, actually, how to keep on doing what you are doing and build a very strong process. Exactly. There's a lot of small aspects of that which are very valuable or have a big value.
Yeah, I think you have to be more discreet. I mean, you know, my family are more or less into saying, when are you going to start taking the scales out to the restaurant? And of course, that would be ridiculous, you know, pulling out of scales. Although, as I understand, the latest Samsung phones can actually work as a scale, so you can put your plate on the scales. Did you know that? You could do that?
What?
You can actually use the screen as a scale. It takes the pressure of whatever you put on it and measures it, as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah. But we wouldn't want to do that. You have to be discreet. I mean, you know, you can't be antisocial with this.
No.
But you know, when you pick up a spoon of something, you go, 30. That's about 30, 50 grams or something like that. So, you know, when you put something in your mouth, you think, okay, I have 20 grams, and you make a mental note. It actually makes you much more aware of what you're eating. Yeah. So you come out there and say, well, that was okay. But I think the best thing is that no matter what you eat during the day, at the end of the day, I feel, I feel satisfied. And the crazy thing is that if I do a breakdown of everything, it always comes out around 2,500 kilocalories, which is exactly what my needs are. And I know that 2,500 kilocalories must be what I need, because my weight is pretty much a constant.
Exactly.
So
And
it's a
you know when you
process.
are exactly when you're practicing this, after a couple of months, you notice that your level of energy are corresponding to this nutritional ketosis that we really want to be in. And if you are break the rules big time, then you can sense it, you can feel it. So in that way, there is no need in the weighing things. When you know how to eat, what you like, what is fitting, what is not fitting in your lifestyle. So it's a matter of practicing and just letting a couple of months go with this diet. Then you know for sure whether you are or not in keto.
Yeah,
So-
without doing blood tests and all
Without-
that sort of
yeah,
thing.
exactly,
I mean, you can get
exactly.
fanatic about it, but
Yeah.
but I think generally just be aware. I mean, for me the easiest thing was to cut out bread. I mean, cut out bread. You find after a while you don't need bread. You realise that there's no nutritional value in bread. Potatoes maybe is a little bit difficult. If there's a dish that calls for potatoes or something, I very often just have a sweet potato. I know it's fairly high on the glycemic index, but anyway, it's got different properties than potatoes. Yeah, occasionally I take a spoonful of rice or something. I mean, you can't be fanatic. You can't be absolutely fanatic, but you've got to realise that things like having rice. I mean, what I do when I make lasagna, it's very difficult to make a keto lasagna. I'm sure it can be done, but lasagna for the rest of the family. So I think, okay, so you sort of weigh it up. Well, I know I'm gonna do this.
But it depends certainly of the application you're following. For somebody that have cancer and they have to following very strict therapeutic ketogenic with caloric restriction, intermittent fasting, that's certainly different than somebody that has experienced a lot of positive things on the course and on this kind of lifestyle change, dietary lifestyle change. And you don't need to be just as restrictive as a person that need to have very strict levels of ketones in the blood and balanced with glucose in the blood in order to fit in this therapeutic aspect of the ketogenic diet. So yes, sure.
Yeah.
So thank you for these valuable insights. Yeah, exactly. In your lifestyle, that is, I think it's very inspiring to hear for many of our listeners. From a person that is both making the course and following, actually, the ideas of the course at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, one reason I'm doing the course is because I really firmly believe that humanity deserves better than what we're getting now. And to do that, no one's going to give it to you because everyone's looking to earn money out of you. So you have to take responsibility. And the main message here is that it's not by chance. All these lifestyle diseases, they're not bolts
they're not
out
from
of
the blue. Yeah, exactly.
It's a case of taking responsibility and doing something affirmative, positive with your health. Takes a bit of time, takes a bit of effort. But the alternative to having good health is having bad health. And if you haven't got your health, your health is your wealth. If you haven't got your health, you have all the money in the world. But if you haven't got your health, then what's the point of living?
Exactly. That's the big truth, actually.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.